Um, got any shadow work tips? What is shadow work in general? Um, shadow work is light work. You are the light, and sometimes we have to go into the shadows, into the darkness to illumine aspects, illumine parts of ourselves that have been darkened by our experience. Removing the ignorance that is there, the ignorance that we have been hurt, the ignorance that we are hurt, the ignorance that we are suffering, removing the ignorance that we are anything other than the light in which we are. You know, all suffering, all sorrow, all pain, it is ignorance. Ignorance of what we are. So shadow work is light work. Going back into the darkness and removing the ignorance. You know, the Buddha once said that the number one cause of suffering is ignorance. We only suffer because we are ignorant to the truth of what we are. We are ignorant to the realization that we are the light. And light is ever perfect. And light cannot be cut, cannot be hurt, cannot be destroyed, cannot be broken. And so all of our suffering, all of our sorrow, all of our hurt comes out of the belief in the unreality of what has happened or what is happening. It comes out of just ignorance. And that, what is that ignorance? That ignorance is darkness. And so that is the shadow work, is going back into the darkness and with the light that you are, and illuminating those darkened parts of your life with light. But in a more practical way, because that can be very abstract if you are not that deep into your practice. So more practical ways, I would say. Whatever is there, sit with it. If you know that there are shadows there, if you know that there is ignorance there, darkness there, hurt there, sorrow there, sit with it. Try not to judge it. Try not to suppress it. Try not to disallow it. Simply allow yourself to sit with it. Sit with all of the hurt. Sit with all of the pain. Sit with all of the darkness. Sit with all of the trauma. Sit with it. Simply sit with it. Be still. And know that I am. I am God. It sounds so very simple, but that is the truth. In that stillness, we bring light. In that stillness, there is healing. In that stillness, there is transformation. Because we are that which cannot be destroyed, cannot be hurt, cannot be overtaken by darkness, cannot be succumbed by fear and depression. Yes, it is so very difficult to sit with the agony, to sit with the pain, to sit with the sorrow, because we have identified so greatly with those thoughts, with the body, with the pain, that we do not know, that we have lost sight of what we truly are. But the very thing that we are seeking is right here. We don't have to go anywhere to find it. We don't have to do all of these things to feel it. It is all here in this present moment. And the moment we allow ourselves to sit with it. And in the beginning, it's so very difficult. It is so very difficult because we are so used to moving and going and chasing and running and suppressing that we ignore the obvious. We ignore the presence of God that is here in that space of stillness. And once, the mind runs itself out. The feelings of pain and agony, they tire themselves out. And when they tire themselves out, the light in which you are is revealed. And that brings immediate healing. That brings spontaneous wisdom and illumination. So my best tip for shadow work, maybe it's for the spiritually mature, but you are that. You are worthy of that. You are deserving of that, of experiencing that, because you have the power to heal yourself. And I would never disallow you that opportunity to heal yourself. I would never persuade you to run away from yourself, because you have the power to heal yourself simply through stillness. And it may take some practice, and it may take a lot of crying and a lot of self-inflicted suffering, sitting with yourself. But I have found that is the only way, that is the surest way. That is the surest way. Because you meet yourself and you see yourself as yourself. So, in this phase, in your stage of your journey, just allow yourself to be willing to sit with everything, to be with everything, to just simply sit. And then the more you seek, the more you sit with it, it will speak to you. The pain will speak to you. The shadows will speak to you, because they are somewhat a part of you. They exist as a vibration within you, and they will begin to speak on a very subtle level, not in maybe a voice or maybe just a thought, because all of the pain, all of the sorrow, all of the agony is connected to the thought. And the more you sit, the more those thoughts just rise, because we have been accustomed to just be on the move, on the go. But once we begin to sit still, our being begins to speak to us and tells us what's truly quote unquote wrong. So and this time, just be willing to sit with it all. Sit with it all. And then in that stillness, there is healing. In that stillness, there is healing. In that stillness, there is light and illumination.